The idea of telling Jesus Christ he could do whatever he wanted to with my life was pretty scary. And I struggled over that for about 9 months until one night I just, in an evening service, said, okay, Lord.
Then my call to missions became more specific when I heard Samuel Swanger. I was a student at Stony Brook School on Long Island. I was probably about 13 years old, and he said, if anybody wants the hardest but most rewarding work in the world, go to the Muslims. And so I said, where do I sign up?
My wife and I went to SIO in 1975 in Norman, Oklahoma. And there the Lord turned my life around, and I began to look at what it might be like to be an anthropologist for the kingdom of God.
She had felt a missionary call as a young child, so we met and started to talk and interacted. She invited me to church and youth group and things like that, and I had not had that experience. So after about 6 months, she finally led me to the point where I had to make a decision. And so the decision was not only to become a follower of Christ and to receive that wonderful gift of salvation, but also to embrace the missionary call.
The first thing on my agenda when I came was to look at leadership, how leaders are formed. I had soon come to the conclusion in my research in Brazil that simply getting people through the right degree program did not necessarily create leaders. And I also looked at Pentecostalism, and they were creating leaders in a very different way and very successfully. So we called Bobby Clinton to look at the whole issue of leadership. Bobby didn't look so much at models of leadership formation. He helped people look back at their own lives and see how God had shaped them. We called Elliston to look at that other aspect of different models of leadership training. A physician, a woman physician, Dr. Barker, had known Dudley since he was in the 6th grade, was it? When you roomed with her son?
I think the 8th grade.
8th grade at Stony Brook, and had admired Dudley and followed him. And she put up the funding to make it possible for us to bring Dudley on the faculty.
Wow.
And now, the Lord is way ahead of us.
We saw the need for more international faculty, but this always raised a problem. You don't want to take people from their overseas contacts.
Yeah.
So this we always had to handle with some difficulty. We hired young Lee Hurtig, a Korean woman, and Pablo Dieros from Argentina, and Timothy Park from Korea. And so we began to get more of an international flavor.
At that time, though, are you the one that initiated the change in the name?
I started that. We actually took it to the trustees, and
What was the purpose? What motivated that?
students, graduates, particularly graduates. We had one graduate who was put in prison in Saudi Arabia because he was a graduate of Fuller School of World Mission.
I see.
And he, all he was doing was teaching school. But you know, he wasn't doing mission work. He had nothing of that. It's just the sheer identity of being a graduate of the School of World
So
Mission.
it was the word mission.
Yeah, and then the other piece where we were getting requests from China, graduates in China from other places. Can you change the name of the school, or can you give us a degree that has a different name that doesn't have the school identity?
I see.
So after getting this feedback, we put out a survey to the alumni and asked what they thought of a name change. And we had pretty resounding, strong approval from the
Support.
alumni to change the name.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Another one I would suggest was the initiation of the Master of Arts in Global Leadership program, which was a pioneering thing which challenged ATS. And that was when you were dean, right?
It started under Sherwood.
So it's
and then
another one
I
of these
carried
things
through.
between the two of you.
Yeah.
All these transitions taking place. Can you tell me a little bit about how that came about?
Okay. Bob Freeman was a member of the President's Cabinet, and he was also a member of the School of World Mission faculty. And on the School of World Mission faculty, he was in all of our faculty meetings, and he came up with the idea of having this program on leadership. And so during my time, I helped him process that. And his whole philosophy was that we need to educate those who are already leading instead of those who want to be leaders.
I think you can touch the world more from SIS Fuller than any other single spot that I can think of.